So today we are moving forward and you are watching this video because I am actually not here today. So we're not meeting at 9 o'clock and instead you're going to watch this short video. And I know that for most of you, probably all of you, you probably either last year or the year before talked about author's purpose, right? And maybe even your teacher introduced you to like the word pie when you were talking about author's purpose, and you talked about like to persuade, to inform, or to entertain. Well, in fourth grade, we kind of take that one step further, and we have to understand in fourth grade that what we're really focused on is really the author's point, right? Authors write this really great informational text or nonfiction text, but we as readers have to think about what's their point for writing this? Like, what is their reason? What point are they trying to convey or to make? Kind of thinking about how they feel about the topic, right? If you look at this screen right now, you see a split screen. You see a text here, and it's a letter to an editor. And then over here, you see a graphic organizer. So today, I am going to go through and model reading a text and completing this graphic organizer to identify what I infer or what I think my author's point is based on what I read or evidence that supports my author's reason or point. So again, good readers, they encounter this. They have to use evidence to support what they're thinking to help determine the author's point they're trying to make. So in this article, it's all about plastic water bottles. I chose this article because I know that it's something that maybe you're familiar with or you've read articles on in the past. So let's get started. If you don't have this a full screen, I would recommend clicking in the corner so that you can expand this to make it full screen so it's easier to view. So this is May 8th, 2013. Dear editor, whatever happened to Americans' right to personal choice? In places across the country, people are being told what they can and cannot eat, drink, or buy. Recently, some colleges and towns have even banned the sale of personal-sized disposable plastic water bottles. Someone needs to put an end to this insanity. No one should be allowed to ban the sale of plastic water bottles. So what I infer is that the author is trying to convince someone, maybe it's like a city leader, to not ban the sale of plastic water bottles. Again, this is what I inferred because it doesn't say that anywhere, but what did I read? That Americans should be able to choose what they drink and that someone needs to end the insanity. And when I say end the insanity, I'm referring to stopping the sale of water bottles. Let's continue. First of all, everyone knows that water is a basic need for all human beings. A large amount of the human body is made up of water. People need to drink water to stay hydrated. Doctors and nutritionists recommend that people drink 8 glasses of water a day. The easiest way for people to meet this requirement is to carry bottles of water with them. That way they can make sure to have enough water. So what I'm inferring is that everyone should drink or have plastic water bottles. Again, it doesn't necessarily say that, but what I did read was that humans need water to stay hydrated. Let's continue. This is especially important for people who work or exercise outside. They may not have access to a water fountain or tap. When people sweat, they lose water. They need to replace this water by drinking so they don't get dehydrated. When a person gets dehydrated, he or she may feel dizzy and weak and may even pass out. So many workers and athletes rely on disposable water bottles. They are lightweight and easy to carry and can be thrown away after use. So my inference, what I infer, is that without plastic water bottles, people who exercise or work outdoors will likely become dehydrated. Now, what was the evidence that I read to support that? Well, let's see. I read right here that they may not have access to a water fountain or a tap. They sweat, they lose water, they can replace it by drinking. If they get dehydrated, they're going to feel weak. They may even pass out. So, water fountains may not be available and people can become dehydrated. Let's continue. In addition, there are other situations in which people may not have access to tap water. Okay, so this is something different then. My family, for instance, goes hiking and camping. We often explore areas that are far from towns and a water supply. We need to carry water bottles with us so we can stay hydrated. Just think of what could happen if we got dehydrated in the middle of nowhere. Safety experts at government health agencies also recommend that people keep a supply of bottled water in case of emergencies. In some big storms, like a blizzard or hurricane, the water supply may be affected. People may not be able to drink tap water and may need a backup supply of bottled water to drink. So what I'm inferring is that bottled water bottles, that doesn't make any sense. Plastic water bottles can help people, let's say, prevent dehydration during an emergency. Now, what I read that helped me was that water supplies can be affected. That's not how you spell affected in this sense. It's affected during emergencies. So now we're on page 2. Here we go. Unfortunately for some people, this lack of clean tap water is an everyday concern. Many people around the world do not have access to clean tap water. Drinking unclean water can lead to illness and even death. Disposable plastic water bottles can ensure that all people have access to clean drinking water. All right. Plastic water bottles can prevent people from becoming ill who may not have clean tap water. And so what I read, that's really actually like what I read, isn't it? It's so similar. I mean, we see here like drinking unclean water can lead to illness, even death. So drinking unclean water can lead to illness. Now let's finish up this story. We're right here. I understand that people are concerned by the amount of plastic waste water bottles create, but that's why most towns encourage people to recycle their water bottles. Plastic water bottles can be recycled into new bottles and even be made into other goods, like clothing. Recycling is the better solution to the waste problem. Oh, interesting. Banning water bottles is not a suitable option. Without water bottles, people will be more likely to get dehydrated and be exposed to unhealthy drinking water. Why force people to suffer from illness or disease or even die from a lack of clean water? Water bottles should be kept on store shelves so that people can get the water they need. Gianna Levitt. All right, so the last part, the part that I infer, is that the author wants water bottles to stay on shelves or to stay, to be for sale. Let's see, there was one more part that I wanted to put here. Oh yes, and that people need more information about recycling, meaning that's not really going to help solve the problem by banning plastic water bottles. So what did I read here was that recycling is a better option to the waste problem. So I think it's safe to say now that after reading this text, I have a pretty good idea of my author's thoughts and opinions about plastic water bottles and about the sale and the possible ban of plastic water bottles. What I've done is I've really thought about how my author is feeling, and I've provided evidence to support. Today, you are going to go into Schoology. You have a text titled, "Should we explore space?" Absolutely. And you have this same graphic organizer that has these two columns. You're going to read through the text and you're going to complete this graphic organizer. On Thursday, we're going to take it one step further. For this passage, we're going to look at some questions now that refer to the author's point. So today, let me know if you guys have any questions. Again, I'm out today, but I will check later on tonight. And this is exactly what you're doing, just with a different text and the graphic organizer.